Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, January the 17th, 2021. It is currently 8:51 a.m. Central Time, and I'm still here at Victory Baptist Church with another live broadcast on this Sunday morning, trying to accomplish as many things as possible. And clearly, we have one thing we definitely need to do. We need to return to the book, The Imitation of Christ by Thomas à Kempis. We are still working through this book. I know currently we're on a massive detour. I know we've left the road. We've left the dirt road. I don't even know where we are anymore. I don't even think GPS is going to get us back on the road, but I think it's a very important detour. Yes, I know it's slowing us way down and advancing through the book, but if we're going to go through the book, we need a correct understanding of it. And so here we are. We are in book 1, chapter 19 of The Imitation of Christ by Thomas à Kempis. All right. If you haven't been with us it's been, I guess it feels like it's been over a year since we've been working on this book. I think maybe it has been over a year. I don't know. We've been working on it for a very long time. And I'm just going to keep working on it day by day, whenever I can, and week by week, and hopefully you're benefiting from it. But we're in chapter 19, book 1. It is called Exercises of a Religious Person. Now, make sure we remind ourselves that term religious person is most likely, we can remember Thomas à Kempis is a monk, Catholic monk. Most likely he's referring to people of a religious order, monks, nuns, anyone are part of a religious order. So exercises of a religious person, we are expanding that to refer to all of us who claim to be Christians. Here are the exercises of a religious person. And he starts with this very important line, or this very important sentence. The life of a good religious person ought to be mighty in all virtues. Now, as soon as I read that, I'm like, mighty in all virtues. He's a Catholic. I bet you he has in mind the virtues, the 4 virtues. And so we have been looking at each one of these virtues and considering it and thinking about it. The main question we've asked is not whether these are virtues taught by the Catholic Church, but are these virtues biblical? So far, I think we can clearly say, yes, these virtues are found in the Bible. Today, we come to one that may require a little bit more work, and we'll have to really think about this. And you're going to have to do a little bit of the work to determine how biblical you think this virtue is. All right. So I got to lean over here. I got to pick up the Catholic Catechism. Catholic Catechism, page 443, starting in paragraph 1803, they have a discussion about the virtues. This is Article 7, the virtues. And I'll remind you of paragraph 1805 in the Catholic Catechism. And the reason we're going here is because I think this is what he has in mind. Hey, if you're a religious person, you got to be mighty in these virtues. And I think these are virtues that we need to think about because they're virtues I think that are often overlooked. Okay, and let's remind ourselves of the virtues we've already studied. Here we go. Paragraph 1805, Catholic Catechism. 4 virtues play a pivotal role and accordingly are called cardinal. So these are the cardinal virtues. All the others are grouped around them. They are prudence. That one definitely was biblical, and we spent a lot of time with that. Justice. We spent a lot of time with that because there's so much discussion in our culture about justice. What is a biblical understanding of justice? So we looked at that. And then today, fortitude. Fortitude, that is the virtue we come to today. Now, I'm going to jump to paragraph 1808 because here they give a paragraph, they dedicate a paragraph here to the virtue of fortitude. So I want to ask yourself, fortitude, is this a biblical virtue? Is this something that you need to think about? Do you need fortitude in your life? Is this something you should be pursuing? Here's how the Catholic Catechism describes it. Fortitude is the moral virtue that ensures firmness in difficulties and constancy in the pursuit of the good. So let me read this again. Fortitude is the moral virtue that ensures firmness in difficulties and constancy in the pursuit of good. So according to them, this virtue is the thing that ensures that you have a firmness in difficulties. That in other words, you don't collapse when facing difficulties. You don't fall apart. You have fortitude. All right? or constancy, all right? In other words, a consistency and the pursuit of the good. You're constantly in the pursuit of good. No matter what's going on in life, there's a fortitude, there's a consistency, there's a constancy. You constantly are pursuing after good. Nothing is going to sidetrack you. You are firm in the face of difficulty. I'll continue. It strengthens the resolve to resist temptations and to overcome obstacles in the moral life. The virtue of fortitude enables one to conquer fear, even fear of death, and to face trials and persecutions. It disposes one even to renounce and sacrifice his life in the defense of a just cause. The person who has fortitude is willing to renounce and sacrifice his own life for a just cause. He's got fortitude. He's not going to be fearful, not going to be a coward. Hey, this is a just cause. I'm willing to die. I'm willing to die. It's a just cause. Now, they make a reference to two scriptures here. The first scripture they make a reference to is Psalm 118, verse 14. Psalm 118, verse 14. So let's look at it. Psalm 118, verse 14. Psalm 118, verse 14. Psalm 118, verse 14. The Lord is my strength and song and has become my salvation. The idea is the Lord is my strength. So the idea here is that fortitude is a strength and that this virtue comes from God. God is my strength, and this strength should give me a fortitude, a consistency, a firmness, no matter what I face. If the Lord is really our strength, then we should have this virtue of fortitude, is what they are claiming. Then they also give Psalm 118, verse 14, and then they offer one other scripture, John, the Gospel of John, chapter 16, verse 33. The Gospel of John, chapter 16, verse 33. John chapter 16, verse 33 says, John 16:33. These things have I spoken unto you, that in me you might have peace. In the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. So this is the idea that we find our strength, we find our confidence, we find our peace, we can be of good cheer even in the midst of great tribulation, because we have a confidence that he has overcome the world. And that should give us this virtue of fortitude. Now, let's do this. That's everything the Catholic Catechism has to say in regards to this virtue. Let's do a little work here. Let's look up the word fortitude itself. We'll look it up in an English dictionary. Give me one second. Fortitude. Give me one second. Fortitude. Here we go. Fortitude. Courage in pain or adversity. Courage in pain or adversity. So fortitude is this idea that you're going to show courage in pain and adversity. You're going to stick to it. You're not going to crumble. You're not going to fall. You're not going to be discouraged. You're not going to be detoured. You're going to stick with it. That's the idea of fortitude. Give me one second. I'm going to look here. I'm almost positive. There's not going to be an entry for fortitude. Give me one second. I'm almost positive there's not going to be. I didn't think about looking here, but I'm going to look. Forgiveness, fortified. Yeah. No entry for fortitude. So here's the thing. This virtue that they want us to look at is the one of fortitude. And they offer two scriptures, but they don't really offer more than that. Obviously, Thomas à Kempis doesn't mention these virtues by name in that chapter. So we're kind of left with this idea, Is fortitude a biblical virtue? I will say this. The Bible definitely gives us this idea that as Christians, we are not to allow trial and temptation to overcome us. In fact, I'm thinking about this. We're kind of currently starting to work through the book of the Christian in Complete Armor. Let me see here. Yes, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. This idea of being strong in the Lord. Let's do. I'm going to look up Ephesians 6:10 really quick in the Blue Letter Bible app. I'm going to go to Ephesians. I'm going to see if this gets us any closer to this idea. All right, so Ephesians 6:10, strong. Let's look up this idea of strong. It's this word.
Strong's G 1743, endunamao. Endunamao.
Okay. We'll listen to that one more time. This is the word for strong, the Greek word here that's translated strong in Ephesians 6.
Strong's G 1743, endunamao. Endunamao.
Endunamao. I have a hard time saying it. Endunamao. It's the idea here to be strong, endure with strength, strengthen, to receive strength, be strengthened, increase in strength. It's used 8 times, and it's the idea just to empower, to enable, to be strong. So the idea here in Ephesians 6, and I think this is important, finally, my brethren, as Christians, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. This strength that we are to find in God, this strength, I think it has to relate to the idea of fortitude. It gives us this courage, this strength to face adversity. Because here he's going to say, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. He's going to tell them to put on the whole armor of God. And verse 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of the world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. I think this. Why do you need to be strong in the Lord? Because of what you face. You're facing an adversary. You're facing a spiritual adversary who wants to destroy you. 1 Peter says Satan roams about as a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. Because there is look, if you think about, we have the flesh, we have the world, we have the devil, we have all of these things coming against us. We have to have this idea of fortitude, this virtue of fortitude, to stick with it, to face it, to not crumble, to have the courage willing to lay down your own life. That is a very important virtue, and this is the one that Thomas à Kempis, I think, is alluding to. When he says all religious people need to be mighty in virtues, I think this is a key virtue, the idea of fortitude. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm trying to think of how much here I want to do for you, but I'm going to leave this one more in your hands. Here's what I want you to do. For the virtue of fortitude, I want you to find 5 verses. 5 verses. You can either find one of them could just be a passage where someone in the Bible you think demonstrates fortitude. You think they demonstrate fortitude. A good example of fortitude. Find one, out of the 5 passages, find one that provides a good example of fortitude. Someone who seems to show this courage and this, and again, the way the Catechism describes it, firmness in difficulty and constancy in the pursuit of good. Stands against that difficulty, but continues to do good. Both aspects are there in this idea of fortitude. So find a biblical example of someone who demonstrated fortitude. Find me a good biblical example, all right? Then find 4 verses. So 5 verses total. The first one, it can be a passage, just give me a biblical example of someone who showed fortitude. And then 4 verses that you think really speak to this idea of fortitude. All right? And it's not going to use the word fortitude, so you're going to have to really think this one through. Now, I think Ephesians 6, I think that one, and the only reason it came to my mind is because we're studying the book Christian in Complete Armor, and that's a foundational verse in that book. I think this is the idea that we find our strength in God. We find our fortitude is found in God. It's not found in ourselves. And I think this is important because it's not like, I just need to just stick with it, brother. Just almost like we create this mentality. We have to find fortitude in God. So I think Ephesians 6 speaks of fortitude. Think of, and you can put that one down if you want, and then you just need three others. So the first verse, an example of fortitude. The next one you could put Ephesians 6 because I think that's pretty important. And then find three other scriptures that you think give us this idea of fortitude, about this constancy, consistency, the strength, whatever you think you can find. But give me a biblical example and then 4 other passages. You can put Ephesians 6 down. That means you just need 3 other scriptures. You need your example, which I haven't given you, and 3 other examples or 3 other scriptures that you think speak about this attitude of fortitude, even this virtue of fortitude, even if it doesn't use the word. All right? Now, this is one you just can't look up fortitude and find it. You're going to have to think about scriptures that you think gives you the idea of fortitude. All right? Or at least gives you the same concept. All right? There we have it. That one we could do a little bit more, but I want to present some of these. Like the goal here is obviously getting you back into God's word. That's what I'm always trying to do. So I think this one is a good one to hand to you so that you can work on and you see you can come up with. There you have it. Fortitude. Get to work. Please feel free to send it to me. newsif@yahoo.com. newsif@yahoo.com. Members of Victory Baptist Church, as always, you can share it in the chat, and I'll be more than happy to take a look and see what you have to say and see what you found. Because what I've said so many times, what you find sometimes will be something I never even thought of, and I'll be like, "Wow, that's really good." So get to work. Let me know what you discover. All right, I'll stop right there. You can email me newsif@yahoo.com. newsif@yahoo.com. That means we only have one virtue left. You said you could have put it with this one. I know I could, but I'm trying to make these where each individual virtue gets its own time of consideration and meditation. And I want you to just focus right now on the virtue of fortitude, and then we'll finish up that, and then we'll get right back into the book. All right. Thank you for listening. Everyone have a great day. God bless.